Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And Ron's calling all the way in from Pennsylvania.
Surprise, surprise.
Chilly.
He's
Not
in the
state.
Chilly.
Yeah, he's in the country, but he ain't here.
Nope. But don't worry. In January, I'll be home for 3 whole weeks.
3.
Wow.
Whole weeks. You serious, Clark? That's right. It's still the holiday season.
Yes, it is.
And we're still dropping National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation jokes left and right.
I beg to differ because we do that all the time. It
Don't
has
know what you're
nothing
talking
to do
about.
with the holiday season.
Hey, you know what?
That's
You know
the
why?
gift that keeps on giving
All year.
The whole year through.
Oh, man. So it's our Boxing Day show because we just got finished watching some Boxing Day matches.
A lot of fun games.
Some fun games. And so we had some technical difficulties, which led to us starting a little late. So I'm just going to jump straight on in. Let's get to some beer.
Let's do some beer.
Yep.
So we kind of had a little bit of this while we were watching the games, and I'll quickly review it. But it is a Guinness 20th Anniversary Export Stout. And it is quite good. So a little brief history on this.
200th anniversary, not of the beer.
Of when it came to America.
Yep.
So Guinness history changed forever in 1817. In that year, Benjamin Guinness, Arthur's son, brewed our first beer with a new roasted grain called black patent malt. His stout recipe laid the foundation for how we would brew for the next 200 years. The same year Benjamin brewed his lovely dark beer, we shipped the first barrels of Guinness to America. To this day, America's favorite stouts are still brewed at St. James Gate. Based on the Guinness brewing logs of 1817, Guinness 200th Anniversary Export Stout seeks to bring to life the same dark ruby red color and complex flavor of Benjamin's beer from 200 years ago. Rich and full body with notes of caramel, toffee, and sweet chocolate. Smooth drinking with just the right amount of bitterness. Guinness 200th Anniversary Export Stout carries on the legacy of 1817 and looks forward to our next 200 years in America.
Nice.
And I love the label because it's red, white, blue, but it's kind of like an old school red, white, and blue look. It's they're not saturated colors, a little desaturated. For those of you in the graphical design industry. Let's crack this bad boy open. Here we go. Oh, yeah. And these Guinness are not, or Guinea, I guess in plural, are not, they are not nitrogenated. These are just bottled, carbonated beverages. And so you don't get that creaminess.
It's not beverage.
Beverage. It's kind of got like a slightly brownish foam, decent head retention. Not crazy.
Oh, it says it usually should have a, what was the exact phrasing? Should have a
Phrasing.
Frothy head.
It does have a frothy head. Ron, here's your frothy head.
If I had a nickel.
All right.
Well, hold on. Ron, what are you actually having before we do the cheers?
So I am following our tradition of #DrinkLocal, and I'm drinking a Pennsylvania beer. It's from Pittsburgh, which is about 3 hours away from here, from Penn Brewery. I'm drinking the St. Nikolaus Bock Brewers Reserve. It's a pretty really good holiday, kind of a European style Bock beer. Very rich, strong, malty lager that's really like a dark ruby in color with notes of chocolate. It's 9% ABV, and it's pretty amazing. I'm digging it.
Remind me on the #DrinkLocal front.
Yes.
I have a report after we talk about these beers.
Blake has a report.
All right. Yes, and I think it's time to try this here 200th anniversary Guinness.
Try it again because we had a little bit earlier.
That's true. We did try a little earlier. Cheers, Ron.
Cilantro, Ron.
Cilantro.
And the thing I like about this Guinness is it's more of a bite because a little bit of it. Yeah. It's not. It doesn't have that nitrogen to kind of smooth it out, and it definitely kind of hits you got a good flavor.
Has a good flavor.
It's darker.
It's a bite of very dry finish.
And a higher alcohol content. This is like 6%.
Correct.
And I think it's Golding hops that this uses. So just,
Golding.
just a little bit more of a little Guinness, a little more in your face.
Nothing.
Not huge, just a little bit more. How's yours, Ron?
It's pretty good. A lot of chocolate malt in this with a bit of caramel and a bit of spice, like holiday spice. You can only get this beer from November to January here in Pennsylvania. So it's extremely seasonal, but it's pretty tasty. You could put a couple of these away and just thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, I'll give my report, but it actually plays into, as we move in to talk about some Premier League soccer. First match we were going to talk about was Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Which started off 40 games in
40 games in
10 days.
14,
insane.
14 days.
Oh, man.
So Ferris and I went over to one of our favorite local establishments, a brewery called the Crooked Can, and watched the match. And they had a ton of Christmas beers on tap. But the craziest one was the eggnog beer.
I didn't try that one.
It was a wheat beer brewed with chai tea. And when you put it together, it looks and tastes like beer eggnog. It was awesome.
Wow.
And it was, you couldn't just slam them. I saved it for the end. Like we had some food and I kind of treated it like a dessert. Delicious. What was the other one was good? The coffee red.
Oh, that was I don't remember what the name of it was. I'll see if I can look it up real quick.
it
I
was
had
a red ale
Bock
made-
Humbug.
Bach Humbug.
That one was darn good, but it was something red. It was a coffee red ale. I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was outstanding. It was good drink. And then if you're not familiar with that brewery, they have a lot of local food down the way. You know, mac and cheese and pizza and sushi and a butcher shop and wings and all
Awesome
sorts of
pizza.
stuff. Yeah, just awesome stuff.
Yeah, they're all like different local cooks and stuff. Like it's all local food.
Yeah, it was awesome. And there were some friends and watched the match. Had an awesome time.
Yeah, it was a good time, and it turned out to be a fun match to watch.
Yeah.
As I
Boy,
thought,
did it.
Arsenal was just going to get bowled over, and then in the time I went to go order a beer, 2 goals were scored, followed quickly by a third. That was crazy.
4 minutes.
Yeah, man. Sanchez, Xhaka, and Ozil in that order.
But the goals weren't in that order. See, that was the cool thing. Was Coutinho opened up the scoring on the 26th minute. Salah then made it 2-0 right after halftime. But then right after Salah scored, Sanchez scored to make it 2-1. And then Xhaka scored to make it 2-2. And then Ozil scored to make it 3-2 within a matter of,
4 minutes and 40 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You're like, how are we going to get up to like 8, 7 goals? Like, where are we going with this?
We're going to the fact that there are no midfields on either team.
Or defenses.
Or defenses. And it was literally end to end, end to end. It was a blast.
Yeah.
But
There were a lot of just attacking talent and stars on display there.
Yeah, there was very little tactics that all kind of went out the window, and it just became a gigantic, wide open match with chances at both ends, just back to back to back to back, probably until after Ozil. After Ozil, things kind of calmed down a little bit, even after the Firmino goal in the 71st. It was still much more calm. But, man, what a opening few minutes to that half.
And that Ozil goal was one of the best goals I've seen all year. That was beautiful. It was a little back heel from Lacazette, I believe, and just played Ozil in. And he didn't, like, rip the ball. He didn't curl it. He just a nice, wasn't necessarily a full-on chip, but a just nice little dink over who was in goal for him? What was it? Carius. It was Mignolet.
Mignolet,
Nice
yeah.
little, just cheeky. It was very, very, very well done.
And it just goes to show you, when he is on, He is awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what I was going to say.
And
Yeah.
up until he scored, for the entire first half, he couldn't be found on the pitch. There was no mention of his name. He was out there, but just wasn't doing anything. And then the second half, they came out and started firing. And
I don't know.
Was a big part of that.
I don't know whether Arson gave him spinach or Wheaties or both, but man, Arsenal came back with a passion.
So much so that Ferris was inspired to create Christmas Carol headlines again for all of our matches.
Hashtag you're welcome.
Shall I take this one?
It'd be rude if you don't.
So there was "Oh holy night, the stars are brightly scoring." I was gonna say finally scoring, but that wouldn't be accurate.
No, because Ozil scored a few in the past a little bit, and Coutinho's been
Yeah.
scoring Salah,
Oh,
and
Xhaka
Firmino,
was the
and
shocker.
Sanchez.
We were all like, "Xhaka, is he even playing today?" And then he scored. We literally just
His goal was a good strike from him, but poor goalkeeping from Mignolet. Mignolet
Yeah.
could have stopped that. Why he only went with one hand on that is beyond me. You got to go for two and just punch it away. He tried.
I think Mignolet and Forster were hanging out midweek because man, they made some atrocious saves in those matches.
it's the bad goalie decision hangout club. That is not a club that you ever actually want to be invited to.
You would rather be invited to the Scott Sterling Club than you would the bad decision goaling club.
Yeah, because at least he saved them.
Exactly.
We did see a Scott Sterling save today.
Did we?
Yeah, there was one right to the
Yeah.
face. Yep.
In the
Yep.
face.
In the face. So there
And
you
then
go.
and then the
Oops,
ball goes up and tags the crossbar twice
Yep.
after hitting him in the face.
Yeah, it was a total Scott Sterling. So that was the Arsenal Liverpool match. It was fun, but I think it was Arlo White or somebody shared something like, two teams, no defenses.
And then I think it was Men in Blazers had. Is this the best worst game or the worst best game?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, I don't know the answer to
I
that.
don't know what the answer to that is either.
And that was Friday. That was a end of the week match.
No, that was so it was the end of the week match, but that was to kick off this 40 days
Correct.
and 14 days. So it was a hell of a
Right.
way to kick off the festive
The
season.
festive fixtures, which brings us to today's Boxing Day fixtures, right? Oh, yes. That marches us over.
Yep.
Which we were having a debate, and Ron, you may help us answer. Well, last year wasn't every team playing on Boxing Day?
I don't think so.
Because there's a game tomorrow with Man City and Newcastle, and then a game on Thursday
Right.
with Palace and Arsenal. What? But
Right.
Why?
That seems-
Why not play everybody on Boxing Day and then everybody on Saturday and then everybody on New Year's Day? And that's odd to me.
It makes for a rough schedule. I feel like Newcastle is the one that gets shafted the most in that situation.
Makes me seem like it's TV.
Well, but it's also why I'm sure it's TV, but it's why it's hard to come, if you're doing great, to come through the festival season doing well, unless you're Man City. But
Yeah, I think last year they had it broken up. I don't think everyone played on Boxing Day.
I know that. I don't think they did. Not Christmas would have been on Sunday last year, right?
Yes,
Or no?
Saturday,
Yeah,
something like that.
I can't remember.
Lord, yeah.
I don't know. It's been too. You know how much has happened in this past year? I can't remember nothing.
Nobody tells me.
You can't remember last week.
No, I can't remember last week. Jeez, are you kidding me? I know we were going to get together and record earlier, but the baby fell asleep on me, and so did my wife, like on the other side of the couch.
Yeah.
It was like, well, we're just here after the last match until they finally move.
They both needed to sleep, though.
Oh man, yeah. So we move on to the first game of today, which is an early 7:30 game, which I watched, and it was a bit of a rout.
Just a bit.
5-2 Tottenham versus Southampton. Another Harry Kane hat trick.
Another.
Eight.
By another, we mean back to back.
Yeah, he just got a hat
Yep.
trick a few days ago.
He's now on 8 in the Premier League.
Yeah,
He's like third in the list of all time hat tricks. But the hat trick today,
who did he surpass?
Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer. Yep, he surpassed Alan Shearer. And to which I
And
said, "Hey,
just so you guys realize, Alan Shearer's hat tricks were scored in 1995. That's
He-
how long
also
this
um,
record has been going.
in far less game like Harry Kane
yeah.
did it in far less games.
And younger,
Yes.
I believe, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when it was all said and done and they announced the stat, I was like, that's crazy that Harry Kane's already outstripped Harry Shearer's gold. And he was like, who'd you say?
What?
You mean Alan Shearer? I was like, oh, yeah, not Harry Shearer.
Harry Shearer.
Yeah.
Hello, Harry.
I was like, what?
Yeah, that's amazing. English Jesus, man. He is all over it.
It's funny you bring that up
Oh,
because Ferris
Lord.
wrote down for this headline, Blake had one. And that's because as I was sitting there, this came to my mind. Do we all know the classic holiday yarn of a song of Good King Wenceslas? You know,
Yes.
Good King Wenceslas. Well, I was inspired because on Christmas, my wife and I finally did our annual viewing of Love Actually. And I love the bit where
awesome.
the prime minister's singing that song, and then next to him, the bodyguard's like, brightly shone the moon. And like,
You're right.
so here's my impression of the bodyguard from Love Actually. Good King Harry scores a lot, broke some records even, but it will not be enough to make Spurs champions this season. The best they'll get is third or fourth. Even with good play, they'll have to be happy with avoiding St. Tottenham's Day.
That was brilliant.
Nicely done. nicely done.
Oh, that was genius. Good job. Well done, you.
I think that's what started the whole, we got to do Christmas carols.
Cheers to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, because I wasn't gonna go Christmas carols necessarily, and then Blake was like looked over and he had this like just cheeky smile on his face that was like his baby's in his hand, his wife's asleep, and he was just like, "Have you written the headlines yet about Tottenham the game?" And I went, "I was just getting to that one." "No, I have not." He goes, "I got it." And boy,
Amazing.
do you ever.
I'm going to have to pull
That
that.
was
I have to
brilliant.
pull that audio out and make it a
that's a
ring
good
or
one.
something.
Yeah, we got to put that one on Instagram.
Oh man.
That was awesome.
But it's true though. Again, the Spurs beloved fans have a ton to celebrate, but it's not going to be winning the league. It's not even going to be at this point hoping to win the league.
It may not even be picked for best for top four.
They may not get in top four, right? I mean, I'm being a little cheeky with that song, but there's truth to that. I mean, there's still Burnley, there's still Liverpool, there's still Arsenal, all teams that have faults, but so does. I mean, yes, Spurs look good 2 games in a row, but they did in the previous 2 games.
Right. They lost to Man City 4-0,
Yeah.
4-1, 4-1. I think.
So it just still remains to be seen. And I mean, it's the
So
only
I-
hope that Arsenal fans have of a happy year is they somehow managed to end above the Spurs. But I don't.
So I guess the question is, how long do you think Harry Kane sticks around? Because Harry Kane is a consistent scorer. Do you
Yeah.
think Tottenham has not been able to get near silverware in, I don't know, I can't even recall the last time they won any silverware. You think Harry Kane's going to want to sit around and become a franchise player
I think
for Tottenham, or you think he's going to move?
the two Robbies talked about this a bit after the matches were over today on NBC Sports. And I think Musto brings up a good point that to really go anywhere he wants to go, he has to do some of this in the Champions League to really be picked up by somebody else. Lard, if you're talking like the Madrids and the Barcelona, like that kind of thing.
Well, I don't even necessarily mean that he's got to go international. I mean, he could go to a Man City, he could go to a Chelsea, he could go to maybe even an Arsenal if they get their act together and win silverware.
I think he'd go to Man U before he went to Arsenal.
But he's certainly not in really any danger of winning any silverware staying at Tottenham.
It's tough to say because you know what? He's a local boy.
Exactly.
So
And that's
local.
why I think he stays. I think he stays because he wants to open up the new stadium here. Tottenham, they haven't won anything, but they play his style of ball. And they were in the top 4 last year. I think they have a good shot to get back into the top 4. It's still a long year. They do that, and then they're doing well in the Champions League this year. They have been. They beat Real Madrid at home. They beat Dortmund at home, I believe. They won the group in the Champions League. I don't know why you would want to leave right now. If you go to Man United, you're still facing City. You go to Chelsea, you're still facing City. As long as Pep's there, it's going to be tough. I think the only place I could see him go would be Real Madrid. Take that Benzema spot and have Asenio and Bale and some of the other players that they have feeding him the ball, and they play a little bit more his style, but more expansive, a little bit more.
My gut says, though, he's going to be one of those rare players that, I mean, obviously money talks, but not that Tottenham won't throw it at him. I think he'll stay.
Yeah, that's a feeling that I get too. I think he wants to stay. I think he loves that club very, very much, and he wants to open up the stadium.
It's not like Wayne Rooney at an Everton, who then has the opportunity to go to Man U. Do you know what I mean? Because he was a local boy. Is what I'm saying. And it's a very different situation.
And when he left Everton to go to Manchester United at the time, they were like the single club of just it was under Sir Alex. They were the single, like there's no single club anymore that is dominant.
No, they were peak.
Right. You have Man City now. You have Chelsea. You have Liverpool. You have Arsenal to an extent. You even have Burnley to an extent at this point. I mean, so I think he stays. I think if he does go, he does not stay in the Premier League, and he goes probably to La Liga, where a lot of the bigger English stars in the past have gone. David Beckham, Michael Owen, they've gone over there. But that's it. But I agree with you. I think he stays.
Yeah, I don't see him leaving in the January transfer window. And I think you're right. It depends how well they do in Champions League this year. Because if they don't win or get close in Champions League this year, then I think in the summer there might be a lot of interest, especially if he continues to stay healthy and score goals like he is. Then I think other teams or other clubs are going to start wanting him to move.
And if he keeps doing this,
in the
he'll
summer,
have the pick of where he wants to go.
Yep.
And I think that would be. I think it would be Madrid. I don't see it Barcelona. I don't see it Bayern Munich.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think it would be Madrid.
He fits in
anywhere.
well. He fits in well there.
One last thing.
Yeah.
One last thing. The Southampton third kit is awesome.
Yes, it is.
What was a third kit?
The black with the I don't know, teal, kind of dark teal stripes.
Oh, yeah. That is. There's a lot of kits in the Premier League this year. Like the third kit is the best kit out of the three.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one is. Yeah, that's a good one.
I brought up Everton, and so we'll go back to Everton a little bit. West Brom Everton. Ferris repeated a Christmas Carol. What was it?
From the
Ferris?
last one, it was simple. Silent night, goalless night.
And that's all we got there, folks. Moving on to the next match.
That's such a terrible.
Oh, West Brom and Everton. Hey, the news.
No, seriously, let's move on.
You know what? The only thing I'll say, Tony Poulos, the old coach.
Well, hold that. That can come up in a later discussion when we get down to the last game of the day.
Oh, you're right. Well, we can say he's moved on to Middlesbrough. He just signed with Middlesbrough, but we can segue that into another match's conversation later. But for little ex West Brom news, Tony Poulos no longer unemployed. I don't think that's much of a shock.
And I mean, are West Brom fans happy that they were? What's changed, I guess, is where I'm going with this. What's changed from the Tony Pulis days to the Alan Pardew days?
The league's getting better around them.
No. I'm talking about just within this year. Like, one was fired for not doing well. Alan Pardew really hasn't done anything. He hasn't necessarily played a more expansive style of ball. He's had a couple of draws here and there.
He's also got to work with what he's got to work with. So I mean,
right. So how was Poulis like?
I think that's
why
just a
even
matter
do it
of
that time. Just try to get a bump, and
yeah,
the bump's not working.
I mean, the bumps in the past we've said, is that going to work? And teams manage to save being relegated.
Well, I think that it really ends up showing that the players have a huge lack of passion, and part of that, management decides we're going to the front office decides we're going to let the coach go and see if we can get a spark out of these players. They bring in Alan Pardew, who arguably is the, I don't know, sparkless of managers this year. And to be honest, I don't know who's worse at the moment for a complete and total loss of any sort of passion between West Brom or Swansea, but the two of them are competing for the top of the table of terrible.
It's the apathy award they're after.
Well,
yes.
They also, I don't feel like they know what they want to do. Like Tony Pulis had a certain style of ball, and like Burnley has the style players that are going to work hard, they're going to put their nose to the ground. It's nothing fancy. It's not dynamic. It's not play the ball from feet to feet to feet to feet. It's dig the ball long, tough. Sam Vokes and who's our favorite? The Burnley striker now, Wood.
Oh,
Chris Wood, and then you have like me in the back, and you have a bunch of Burnley style players. West Brom doesn't know what they want to do. They have like Gary Barry and Chris Brunt. Boom, that's the style. That's the style that you could go. But they brought in Nasser Chadley, who was a Tottenham wide player, expansive. They brought in Jay Rodriguez, wide player, expansive, not really going to put his nose to the ground. Like, what are you doing here? They also brought in I'm going to butcher this name, Grigoric Krivoviak from PSG, midfielder. He's not really their style. Like, what do they want to do? They haven't figured it out yet. I think that's causing a lot of...
Who's that last player?
Krakowiak? I think that's how you say his last name.
No, that was not at all what you said the first time.
You're 100% right on that.
I thought the first time you said Grigorovich, which is the guy who makes wands and like Diagon Alley.
Yes, no.
It's like, hey, we got a Harry Potter reference.
I don't think that was necessarily Tony Pulis. Thank you. Because I think he had a certain style. I think management wanted him to kind of do a different style there and brought in some of these players. And then you're right. Going back to the point of Alan Pardew has to play with what he has, but what the hell do you have to fit the style that he wants?
And you actually brought up a good point about why even move him, because in a way you've got an identity with Tony Pulis. You don't really have one. But in the same token, I'm not sitting where the board is, and it's a tough spot to be in. You're in trouble. You're getting
They're in a lot of trouble. Yeah. They're second to last. They're in 19th place, minus 13. That's not a West Bromian stat right
and
there.
And they are not a team that can score.
15 points. That's it.
And
exactly.
Their last 5 matches have 2 draws and 3 losses.
Ooh, jeez, they make West Ham look good. Oh, snap! I dropped the mic, but these things are expensive. All right. So, moving on.
Did you just kill Ferris?
Just cracked us.
Yeah, I don't know why that cracked me up.
Like, I'm snapping. I don't know.
Don't know why that made me laugh so much. Well, if no one else laughs, at least we do.
How did we get on a 13-minute conversation about a 0-0 draw there?
Because it's just so sad how far they have fallen.
And who cares about the top? Man City's already the champions.
Yeah, true.
It's more interesting on the bottom right now. So moving on up back to the top, we got at home a Chelsea host Brighton Hove Albion, and I think not surprisingly, Chelsea wins.
We wish you a Marotta Christmas. We wish you a Marotta Christmas. Yes,
love it.
I love these. Can we do
Marotta,
Christmas carols all year long?
The Aspilicueta and Marotta connection hooks up for a 6th time this season.
Dude, by the way, that sounds like an awesome movie. We've just got our new movie, The Marotta Connection.
Amazing.
That's a whole other new crime drama we're going to build on. Episode 6. That's a follow-up to our when we win the Emmys for Mrs. Miggins' Pie Shop.
Right.
That's still going to be a fantastic
Netflix crime drama. Yep. Marotta.
So Marotta has 10 goals on the season. 6 of them are assisted by Aspilicueta from those amazing early bended crosses. Those two are linking up like no one else in the Premier League right now, which is amazing to watch.
Yeah, they're great and needed because Chelsea's getting crept up on by the people below them, and this match also lets them creep up on Man United, who now is only a point ahead of Chelsea.
And,
right.
And Ron, I think yes, that connection between Azpilicueta and Urata is quite good. The second scorer in this is somebody that has quietly had probably, arguably, one of the best seasons for you guys so far.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Marcus
Alonso, who has been sneaking in these amazing set pieces. And
which
he put
had one today and it was saved.
Right, but barely saved.
Oh, yeah.
Saved nonetheless, but man, he made the goalkeeper work. And today he scores off of a corner kick and redirects it with
with his flowing
header.
Blonde locks of love and just right into the goal.
Flowing blonde locks of love. That's the new album that we're going to be dropping as well.
It stars Kenny G and cover art by
Phil Collins
and Michael Bolton.
We can do that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Flowing locks of blonde.
And
Phil Collins because he has no hair and it's just awesomely funny.
The cover art is what's his name who got hit with the seagull in the face.
Fabio.
Fabio, thank you.
Also.
Wow, you just dropped the seagull to the face. Disney, right? Like he was on the roller coaster?
He's on some roller coaster. I don't know.
I think it was Thunder Mountain. I got ready to say, I think it was on Brokeback.
Was it on Brokeback Mountain? I love you.
I come to quit you. No, Thunder Mountain. Oh, Disney. Oh, man. Oh,
brilliant.
Geez. Okay, that made me really happy.
but he's having a fantastic year. I think he has 4 or 5 goals on the year as a left wing back.
Yep.
And he's good at defense. He has a great free kick. He's also very smart on set pieces where he knows where to be. He knows to make a run and all of he has quietly been one of your best players this year by far.
Agreed. And it's cool that he's been so quiet. I mean, it's cool that the press really hasn't picked him up.
But the hair salon
really, he's got a sponsorship with like Paul Mitchell.
Oh, I could see it. I'd buy his products.
Amazing.
Sorry, it got quiet there. I was going for another sip of this delicious Guinness. We had the third bottle, so Ferris and I had to split it real quick because this is really good. I hope they keep it around.
Very tasty.
I like the smoothness of it. Hey, for me, a regular Guinness is like a beer drinker's light beer because it's so smooth and creamy. Like, it's just a standby. And plus, if you're going to a place to go eat and they don't have a lot of selection, they'll usually have a Guinness. This is good, though. This is a good stout, man. This 200th anniversary. I dig it.
Very good.
Hey, gents, I'll be right back.
All right. After these messages, the Brewtiful Games is brought to you by J. Double Hayes and his hair tonic marmalade.
Want some of that marmalade? You gotta come get it.
I don't know why that made me so happy. I can't wait till Ron listens to this episode.
You have no clue what the hell's going on.
No idea that
Chelsea suck.
That's the Murata connection. We'll write the
Let's
Murata.
shave Murata's head.
So Murata. So we have the Murata connection. Mm-hmm. Where's Murata from?
Spawn.
Okay, so now we get the Spanish mafia involved. For those of you who are new to listening,
Mata and Herrera from United.
Yeah, we created Mrs. Miggins' Pie Shop, which was this our idea of a Netflix show where it was a pie shop, but really it was a front for the mafia. But Miss Miggins is real tough. But we got guys like who we said Bubble. What's his name? Harry.
Oh, Mickey Bubbles.
Mickey Bubbles. He's like the guard over there. So then the follow up is the Murata connection, and now we get the Spanish mafia involved with Mrs. Miggins' Pie Shop.
Where are we going next with this? Scotland.
Yeah.
Germany.
Oh, we can get. Oh, man. The Gegenpress.
The Gegenpress. The Klopp's Gegenpress.
And you get Klopp because no one. He's like the mayor.
Klopp, Murdersacker.
Klopp is the mayor of the town. No one believes he's in the mafia because they just love him.
Yeah.
He's so happy. So there we go. So we're going to go from England to Spain to Germany. I love all of
And then to
this.
France.
And then we do we get around.
Dimitri Payet.
Yeah. Because we had cast Zlatan in like a Bond villain role, but I wonder if he could make it into one of these as well.
No, he's too good for
No, he's got to be Bond.
He's too good for
Bond.
it.
He's not going to be on Netflix.
He's not a Netflix series. He's a feature film blockbuster, summer 2037. Like, you want to just,
Blockbuster.
Is that what I said?
Like they're old and don't work anymore? The store?
Be kind, rewind.
Are you talking about Blockbuster?
Oh, dude, I'm not even going to play this back for you. I can't wait.
You're going to be surprised.
Till you listen to the pod. We created new shows.
Yes, we did.
Lorada Connection is done. It's in the can, and we already know what we're going to move to after that. From Mrs. Miggins to that. We got it covered, dude. We got a whole trilogy.
You're going to be surprised when we do it.
Amazing.
So
I had to get another beer because I only had one.
Hey, you drinking something different now?
Nope, same thing.
Okay. So we are on to Huddersfield and Stoke. At Huddersfield, they draw 1-1. Who scored that first goal?
Tommy Ince.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Da-da-da.
Even though it was a boring game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what, though? When you're a club like Huddersfield, that's not boring.
That's a good point.
You need those. Here we are talking about.
Especially against Stoke.
Yeah, and you're talking about clubs like Swansea and West Ham, traditional clubs of the Premier League that you're sitting way above at 11th place.
Yeah.
So Huddersfield having a good year. You know, last year I was talking to Ferris about this as we were watching the matches today. I guess it was the prior season. Bournemouth had a jersey sale, and we all bought Bournemouth jerseys, and I even had to call and talk to the sweetest guy ever, who I'm sure like they don't send stuff to Americans often. I'm hoping Huddersfield has a sale at the end of the season. I want a Huddersfield jersey.
Their home jersey?
I don't know. I just want a jersey. I want to put Picard across the back of it.
Amazing.
Yeah. like or Jean-Luc, one of the two.
So their home jersey is the blue and white stripe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Their
Horizontal
away
stripes.
kit. I'm sorry.
The horizontal stripes,
no.
right?
Wait. Vertical.
Vertical.
Stripes. Yeah.
Yes. I'm so confused.
We've lost. Don't worry about
about
us.
us.
We've
Yeah.
lost our minds. You were saying
The away kit is black with vertical red stripes and red trim.
yeah.
And then their third kit is kind of hideous. It's red with black horizontal stripes that kind of look like you ripped part of the red kit away and revealed a black undershirt.
I like the blue white. I like the traditional one with the traditional colors.
Yeah, I agree.
And since of the Terriers, if I could get one that fit my Jack Russell Terrier, I would totally get one.
I want a different jersey at the end of the year from a different club that just came up, but I like where your head's at on that.
Yeah, but I
Brighton and Hove.
I want Brighton and Hove's
You're the third kit, right?
their third kit, that black and like neon.
Yeah.
Shirt.
Yeah.
That was the one they played Chelsea in today,
Yes, correct.
and it's sharp.
Well, I'm going to get the Huddersfield with Picard across the back. And then when I go see him do a play in New York, I'm going to get it signed.
But you also have to get the captain's
Amazing.
armband
get the
to,
captain's
to go around the sleeve.
Oh, brilliant!
That's awesome. Oh, man, that's great. And really, that's kind of all to talk about that match.
It's also
Moving us on to, a little Manchester United versus Burnley. Boy, did this turn out to be quite the match. Burnley, the scrappy team that is currently sitting where are they at right now? 7th, just outside of Europe, but a team that you could easily see against all odds knocking either an Arsenal, Tottenham, or Liverpool, who's ever sitting at 6th when the end of the season comes up, potentially sliding in. These guys, they play great. They know exactly the kind of players they have, and he coaches them perfectly for the talent that he has on that pitch. They're getting better under him, and Burnley ends up drawing Manchester United 2-2. That's huge.
Yeah, and what's amazing is Burnley came out firing. Man United, I would say, didn't have the best of first halves, but
not by far.
also did not have a midfield or a defense to speak of. It's like the bus showed up late for them because Burnley was all over them the first half, playing a good high press, putting Manchester United under pressure at every turn. And man, it paid off in spades.
Yeah, for our Boxing Day traditions, we went to the Proper Pie Company a few days ago, and brought some pies to Ferris and I. We hung out eating some English pies and watching this match. And I got to tell you, I did not anticipate sitting down with Ferris and watching Man United have to struggle like that to that first half.
Yeah, and then I would honestly say that Lingard's second goal was a great goal. His first one in the 53rd minute was kind of a lucky goal.
No. It was his first one that he backheeled in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that
yes,
makes sense.
I think that's the one you're talking about. Yeah, his first one is the one he backheeled in. The one really late in the game was the one that kind of bounced around in the box on a
Right.
corner.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the equalizer, they kind of got lucky.
Well,
but I would venture to say that Manchester United didn't really earn a draw in this match.
Well, but I'll say this: you say got lucky, but I will say, Jose Mourinho to the rescue again, because the match starts off with Zlatan Ibrahimovic up front with Lukaku. Thank you. At
that's
the half, Lukaku,
Very much so right now.
At the half, Jose makes the change. He brings Mkhitaryan in, which he should always be in.
And he came in for Marcus Rojo, which is
Yeah.
interesting because then Matic moved to the back four there.
Right. And then what came in was Lingard for Zlatan.
And that proved to be huge.
Yeah, because he almost scored
the 2 goals in this game.
Right. He almost had 2 goals. Sorry. He that early goal, very quick, prior to the one he actually scored. Barely saved off the line.
That's right. Yeah.
Barely saved the line. And Jesse Lingard had a great game, or as the Men in Blazers tweeted, Messy Lingard.
Messy.
And on that, Ferris wrote a Christmas carol, and I think he's got to sing it because it's his team. It's my favorite one. It's going to be a disaster.
I don't even know if I'm not going to get the
Oh, you get okay. I got you.
Okay.
Said the Lingard to the Claret boys. Do you hear what I hear? Ron, you let me down. We just watched A Very Merry Christmas again yesterday. For Christmas.
I should have said, do you hear what
Do
I
you
hear?
hear what I hear? Every year since that's come out, that Very Merry Christmas special kills me.
seen it yet.
And Chris Rock being held hostage, forced to sing the song is the best thing ever. By the way,
I forgot about that.
yeah, Ferris, this might be my favorite one.
I thought it was clever.
It is good, man.
The
This is a
Claret
good one.
Boys, that's what Burnley calls themselves.
Yeah, it fits. It's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job, Ferris.
Thank you very much. So this game is a little frustrating. Burnley, though, I want to highlight them a lot more so in this game because they came out, they fired. They had 2 very Barnes goal. Okay, can we not put Lukaku anywhere in defense? Ever. I get it. He's big, he's tall, he's strong. Bullshit. Put him near the other team's goals to do that. This game, the Manchester City game, we tried to clear it across his own goal and out and just hit it into his own team member's back, and that's how they scored. This, he tried to head the ball out, a very weak header, right into the other team's, and that's how they got the goal. Stop putting him in the back.
Yep.
Their second goal, though, from Burnley, a Stephen Defour. Very unsung player this year that has made them quietly very, very good. He is a class player. He curled the ball in on a free kick here. If David De Gea can't stop it, you know damn well there's nobody that can stop it. That's how perfect this ball was hit.
And I want to be so pro Burnley right now. And this isn't about crapping on your teams. We talked about this.
I just said I want to go pro Burnley on this one.
But any other year, this Man United club is fighting to keep that first place spot with Chelsea barely keeping up. If there was no Man City, because what Man City's doing right now is ridiculous. You know what I mean? They're running away with it. Any other year, this club, the team, the way it's playing, Man United, definitely a title contender. Burnley, what does their team cost compared to what Man U's
and
bench costs?
Yes. And that goes to the other point. I think it was Robbie Earl was saying you have Sam Vokes up front, not Lukaku.
Mm-hmm.
You have Stephen Defour in midfield, not Pogba. You have Ben Mee at the back, not Bailly, which he wasn't in this game, but that's the cost that you have David De Gea in goal and Nick Pope. You didn't hear Burnley coming out at any point. They have Tom Heaton, their number one goalie, which we were talking about at the beginning of the year, could be England's goalie going into the World Cup. He's been out all year. You also have Chris Wood, their big signing from the off year, is still out, and he did not play in this game. I believe Jack Cork was out in this game. Big signing from them as well. No, I think he actually played. Sorry. They're very good defensive back, James Tarkowski, who has had a great year and is on suspension right now. You didn't hear Sean Dyche come out and say anything about those players being injured and, we have players injured, we have to go into Old Trafford, we'll do what we can, blah, blah, blah. No, he instills confidence in the players that he has, and he goes in with a mindset and on how to play this game. It almost worked for him. I think United had the better second half because of some subs and some change there. But Burnley is a quality team with quality players. They're not the Pogbas. They're not the, $70 million players.
No, and you're talking about,
but they know how to play tactically and very organized.
And they forced Man U to draw it in extra time.
Yeah.
I mean, so Burnley, we were fans of them the first time they got promoted a couple of years ago.
Dave Fishwick.
We're sad to see him go. Man, I'm glad to see him back. They're great. I mean, what a good coach.
I would also say that Burnley's formation now being the consistent 4-1-4-1 has really helped them, because in the very beginning of the season they were formation happy, and now that they've really settled in, it's kind of reminiscent of Chelsea from last year, where the formation finally clicks and they're a huge force to be reckoned with. It's amazing.
And it's just awesome to see those guys put the foot to the metal so quick in an important match like this. And Burnley, we keep talking about it. I mean, it's kind of fun to talk about it, but at some point, if they keep staying where they are, and when you consider, yes, they're at 7th at this point with 33 points, Arsenal at 6th with 34. I mean, Burnley, and above them is Arsenal, then Tottenham, then Liverpool with 34 points, 37 points, 38 points. Those are all three clubs that can not just slip up a match, slip up a couple. You really could see Burnley
just hanging around.
Sneak
they
into
do it all
Europe.
year. Who knows?
It could get into Europa. I mean, trying to say they could get into the Champions League, that's a tough one to pull out. But still, those are three clubs above them that have no problem screwing up. And they just are. Liverpool, Tottenham, and Arsenal. Those are three teams with such ridiculous talent that cannot look like it.
And payrolls much larger
But
than
that's what's
Burnley's.
crazy. The fact with those payrolls that we're even talking about, the fact that Burnley can be competitive is awesome. And I don't know. Maybe I've changed my mind. I got to get a Burnley jersey now. It's awesome. I mean, what a fun match today. I mean, if you're not a Man U fan.
I still thought it was a fun. I mean, because we came back in the second half, so it was still a fun match.
Did you see this round that Josie was totally a joke when Dyche was being interviewed, or was it totally a jerk and was like, "I'm gonna go do this, you're gonna do that." And he's like, "What?" And he gets interrupted on camera by Jose Mourinho.
Yep.
Oh.
And then when Jose did his, it was very.
Oh no, I'm happy. I'm not upset.
I thought it was good for Mourinho.
Do you know why it was
he
good?
He came out not midweek,
exactly.
last week, and blasted his players, saying they played childish, they can't finish out a game.
Do you know why that is?
And this one was kind of.
But you know why he did that earlier this week?
Yeah,
evil.
Evil does what evil wants to do.
So you understand, in the Bond movie, Mourinho is the Blowfield and Zlatan is the muscle next to him.
He was around for a long time, so okay.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
Is he around for 3 Bond films?
I don't know.
If it's 3, then it'd be consistent with what Jose's done at the other clubs. Yeah,
Zlatan can't be the...
Speaking of Blowfield, I got a fantastic... Ma Dukes killed it this Christmas. A James Bond Christmas set with a Spectre shirt that came in it.
Sweet. And you said it had like coasters.
It had a Spectre coaster. It had a Stromberg shipping line coaster. It had...
awesome.
Man. I'm a nerd Bond. Bond nerd.
We've all got our nerd things. It makes me happy in this pod. But before I move on to the next match, I'm just going to be greedy. Do you want to do the other beer, Ferris?
Hell yeah, man.
So Ron, since you weren't here, we weren't going too crazy with like a crazy. We had some stuff we want to do, but we want to save it for when we
Three wise ass
yeah.
episodes.
Once all the festival, the last of the festive fixtures is done by January 4th, we're gonna do for the Epiphany Three Wise Men. You know, we're gonna do the Three Wise Ass episodes and do fun beers there. Where we each bring a fun Christmas beer. So here we're just gonna highlight some favorites. Like today we tried this new Guinness one. Now we're gonna crack open something I look forward to every year, and that is the 2017. Well, this year 2017 obviously, but the Celebration Fresh Hop IPA from Sierra Nevada.
Always a good one.
Every year, it's just a bit maltier than their normal Sierra Nevada pale ale. As it says, special ale for the holiday celebration IPA.
It's a little spicier too.
Yeah, it says it features the hops of the the first hops of the growing season. This pioneering ale is full of complex flavors and aromas, and from the generous use of whole cone American hops. Every Christmas, it feels like the holidays finally, like Thanksgiving is creeping up. But when I'm in the store and I see the case of the Celebration Fresh Hop IPA,
then it's Christmas.
Boom! I'm like, oh, it's Christmas, and I get it. So,
yep.
So yeah. So we didn't want to leave you out with any crazy cool beers, especially with our.
I appreciate it.
Our three. Not that this isn't a good beer, but you've had this before.
Yep.
Have you had this before, Ferris?
I haven't. I haven't had this year's.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
So that brings us over to Watford, Leicester. Watford
Yes.
at home playing a
struggling Watford at this point.
Yep, playing a Leicester who is also, struggling to maintain their spot in the top of the table. Their last 5 matches have been win, win, loss, draw, loss. So Leicester not doing all that great, but trying to maintain their position in the top 10. Watford hanging out at the 10th spot, with their 5 last matches have been loss, 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 and then a win.
Which is a good win for them, though. They needed this bad.
Yeah, they definitely did. Leicester in this match, Mahrez proving that he's the only consistent player on the entirety of the Leicester squad.
Beers on the coach on the plane.
Even with some new highlighted hair.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He's rocking the Pogba. I brought up Love Actually a little bit ago, and I cracked up because I don't know why I didn't realize this was the line, but we were watching it Christmas Eve or Christmas night, and there's the bit where Bill Nye's character Billy Mack, the musician, is being interviewed on the radio, and the guy's like, "What do you think of your album?" And he's like, "Oh, it's terrible. I'm just doing this to make money. This sucks," or whatever. I'm paraphrasing there. And the DJ's like, "Wow, Billy, thanks. We don't, it's very honest. We don't get a lot of that here at Radio Watford."
Oh, that's right.
The look on the guy's face when he says that he's in Watford, it's so disgusted. It just cracked me up so hard watching it.
But I'm dreaming of a Watford Christmas.
Boom. Yeah, because...
Are you? Because they're terrible.
Well,
whoa.
But this was their Christmas miracle. They've had a slide, and they won this match. I mean, earlier in the year, we were talking about Watford like we're talking about Burnley.
Yeah, true.
They really kicked off strong. And Watford, what are they sitting at now? 10th?
You serious?
Yeah, they just fell into 10th.
I mean, they're going to be fine. They're not going to be relegated. They're better than most of the teams below them.
Oh, yeah.
But it just looked like they had a chance to, like, maybe get to Europe or at least try to vie for that, and that's just that's not gonna happen.
And yes, they won the game, but the second goal they scored, they didn't actually score. And it's a very, very rare Kasper Schmeichel own goal.
Yeah, Schmeichel's great. So
he's great, and it was kind of an odd thing because the ball was on the byline there, and just it got shot in, and I think Schmeichel had a little bit of bad positioning. He was a little further away from his near post, so when he went to try to stop the ball with his hand, it wasn't quite strong enough to push the ball out of bounds, and it just went right into the goal. So it changed where the ball was going and then into the net, which is why he got the own goal.
And it's one of those
one he probably wants back.
It's one of those where you go, come on.
Yeah, but you can't really say that with Schmeichel because he's been stellar for
I guess you get one.
But
right?
I think that's why you say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he has been so solid all season, and then to let one like that go you feel bad for him at the same time that you're like, really?
Are you serious,
In
Clark?
my opinion.
Are you serious, Schmeigel?
It doesn't have the same effect.
No, it doesn't.
You serious, Michael?
Every time I hear, I just think of Lord of the Rings every time I hear his name. Smeagol. Smeagol. That's all I hear every time I hear Casper Schmeagol. We wants the gold. We do.
Our Trolls and Rings episode is coming up next.
Our Trolls and Rings?
I don't know.
What you said?
Like they have Trolls and Rings.
It's our trolling episode.
Oh.
Oh, God.
We're stupid.
Man, look at the time. I've got homework to
Look
do.
at the time. What was
Feed
it?
the
Christmas vacation.
chickens.
Look at this. Oh, look at the time. I gotta do the laundry, feed the hog, do my homework.
Yeah, I was actually leading into that until you cut me off.
Oh,
but it's
did you?
all
Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, hence the problem, the downside of phoning in.
Yeah, because you could have just punched
Fair
me.
enough.
Or give them the middle finger to shut the hell up. Yeah.
Oh, man. This is funner than I anticipated.
I don't know what we're doing.
So then we roll on
We
to...
just lost every grammar person.
Yeah, funner.
They're all turning off their radios right now.
Well, boy, let me tell you what. We were talking about Leicester. If you're a Leicester fan, you don't like grammar if you like Vardy. So I'm all
That's
right.
fair.
I'm
Right
all
then. Gotta
right.
get us some chips and pies.
Was that the first time Ron ever did?
Oh.
I feel like I haven't heard that from Ron.
I know, that's a good one, though.
That was a good one.
Speaking of pies, though, I mentioned earlier, we went to our proper pie company. It was a funny, and they're big Tottenham fans. There's this cool, I've talked about them before, but a cool shop down the street from me. They're from the UK, and they make great British pies. And I went to pick these up a couple days ago on the day that Harry Kane scored a hat trick, and it
His
was
first hat trick.
his first one of two in a row, and then today we ate the pies. But Ron, you would love it.
Oh, yeah.
It was Christmas Eve, so they were out of a lot of stuff. So I literally had three choices: vegetable pasty instead of Cornish pasty. That was actually quite tasty. Our traditional curry chicken, always good.
Yes.
The third was the only one option they had: broccoli and chicken and cheese pie.
And it was good.
The best-
That sounds amazing.
The best way I could describe it is it was like a mac and cheese pie. It was so good. It tasted so
It
good.
was surprising. Like
Nice.
it's one of my tops. Like it is good.
I was all like, well, I guess I'll just get that. I know we like the other one. And then it was like, oh my God, give me more of that. It was awesome.
Nice.
So, now moving on to little Bournemouth and West Ham. This was also a crazy fun match. 3-3, 6 goals. Decent amount of goals scored today. Bournemouth was in trouble. They were down 1-0 early on, but kind of looking like it was going to stay that way. And then Gosling scores in the 29th, and it's 1-1. And then Callum Wilson,
Okay.
he scores one in the 57th. So it's 2-1. And then 81st minute, Amadovic scores.
Arnautovic.
Or no, I can't read this. Arnautovic. Arnautovic. There you go. He scores the 81st. Then again in the 89th. And it's now 3-2. And Bournemouth has gone from maybe winning, maybe drawing to screwed. And then Callum Wilson in the 93rd. Although
With a heck of a strike.
No. That wasn't the one you're thinking of. This was
the one that ended that maybe should not have counted. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
definitely
Yes.
should not have counted and was actually
They credited it to Callum Wilson, which is interesting.
very interesting.
Because the line judge, okay, it was crazy. The one I thought they scored and went, oh my God, they've done it at the end. Then then it goes, oh, it's offsides. Then the main ref goes over to the line judge, is yelling at the players to back away as they're cutting around, and they're having a conversation. And the conversation goes, they drop the offsides and give Bournemouth the goal, which is very confusing because Callum was a little bit offsides.
Not a little bit.
huge.
He was offsides.
Well, but not like
No. But he was offsides.
he was offsides. He wasn't like Man U offsides, but they still give him the goal. It was just barely offsides.
Well, that's because he didn't score a scorpion kick.
No scorpion kicks. Fair enough.
It's either you're offsides or you're not.
It's fair enough. So, but he's
Not in Manchester. It's
but,
not.
but
That's
he's
true.
he's just a little offsides, and he is. and it looked like Ake had kicked the ball in, was going to score.
I don't remember.
And then it looked like it missed from the behind Callum Wilson viewpoint. It looked like what it did is it missed him. And so then I thought when they said, no, the goal stands, I thought that they were saying, after I saw that first replay, that Ake kicked it, but Callum Wilson stayed away from it, didn't touch the ball, and it went in and he scored. But then they show the other angle, and the thing actually does hit Callum Wilson, and it hits his like shoulder and rolls down his arm, like the front of it, like his right pec, and rolls down his arm.
And if he wouldn't have tried to make a play for the ball, it wouldn't have mattered. Because it doesn't matter at that point.
Well, essentially, if he didn't touch the ball, because it's not affecting any defender, nor is it affecting the goalie, because the goalie was further up the goal there. Yeah. So,
that's what I'm saying. Right. He shouldn't have made a play for the ball.
Right. He should. He was fine. He should just like back. But obviously running in, whatever, momentum. But it just was. Look, if they had just called it a goal or they just called it no goal, it's one thing. But it was that they stopped everything, and those two refs had a conversation on the sideline, and then kind of still came to the wrong conclusion.
Why don't we have VAR yet?
Well, and I said it to Ferris, which is crazy, Ron. We've had enough VAR conversation in MLS and
Bundesliga has it,
that I said, are they going to VAR this? Completely forgetting, oh, right, they don't have it.
They have goal line, which a lot of leagues don't have. And goal line's been fantastic this year.
Oh, today goal line.
We saw it, and it was, you could literally split hairs with this ball not being over the line. That's how close it was. And goal line worked perfectly.
But this is definitely...
Why don't we have VAR as well?
Well, this is an instance where VAR would not have bothered me because these refs already took the time to have a conversation.
But they got it wrong.
But they did. But I'm saying, like, if you're going to take that time, then it's fine. So that's a little controversial. Bournemouth squeaks away with a 1-1. A 1 point after a 3-3 draw. That was tons of fun. It was a fun match to watch. We had like iPads and laptops up in the living room as we were watching Man United and Burnley. But it's a fun match. A lot of goals. Oh, sorry. It's got a deck the net with lots of goals. Fa la 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 la. There we go. Take it away, Russ. Fa la 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 la. Kids look a deer. I know. If no one has ever seen Christmas Vacation,
you're missing out.
And this brings us to our last match. Speaking of a lot of goals, Swansea City visits Liverpool.
They are in first place for the Apathy Award.
It's a little quiet at Anfield, weirdly enough. There's a 5-0. This game's ridiculous. There's a quick goal by Coutinho, and you feel like it's going to be a rout. Coutinho scores in the 6th minute.
With one of the ones he always does. Like,
sure.
Hey, let's shoot it from outside the box. Let's curl it in. Let's make it look magical.
But he does it. But then you've got this drought for the rest of the half.
It was quiet. Like I think he turned to me one time and was like, is there anybody in this? Like, it's very quiet in the stadium. And Swansea, like, it was weird because Liverpool didn't gang and press like they normally do, like they did against Arsenal, and we're all trying to get the ball, and it was back and forth. They kind of let Swansea just pass it around, which is actually very smart because Swansea really can't do anything.
No, they can't do anything about it. And I texted a friend of mine who's a big Liverpool fan at around the 48th minute when the second half had started, and I was like, I really figured you guys win 4-0. He was like, tell me about it. And then a couple minutes later, in the 52nd, Firmino nets one. Then in the 65th, Alexander Arnold nets one. Then in the 60th,
his first goal in the Premier League.
Yep, first goal in the Premier League.
Yep.
Then in the 66th, Firmino nets his second. Then in the 82nd, Oxlade-Chamberlain gets his to make it 5-0. By the way, first time in Premier League history that two hyphenated names have scored in the same match.
Are you serious?
I don't know, but I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to say it's probably true. It's probably true.
Oxlade-Chamberlain that was a fun pinball setup for his goal.
And a lot of skill from him, too.
Yeah, and he laces it with the top of his foot and just sinks it right over defenders and the keeper after having just previously shot it and picked up his own rebound.
And that was after it came off of his knee. It went onto his knee to the top of his, like,
Yep.
It was very skillful.
I love that one of the tweets I saw was, well, we've reached a point in the game where it's like, I don't know, let's just screw around and let's see if Ox can score. Let him have the ball. Where's that point in the match?
This was FIFA set on easy.
Yes.
So, Ferris, you got to sing this last Christmas Carol because it makes me happy.
Swansea got run over by Roberto.
I freaking love it. There's some really good ones in this. This set is probably better than your first Christmas Carol.
And it's different carols, by the way, except for the one reprise that we had because it was Silent Night.
And he literally made all these in the second half of the Burnley Man United match. It was very impressive.
Everybody was
or
asleep.
the Liverpool,
Me and Blake Wise
Swansea
popped on the
match,
computer and boom.
I just you want. I don't even. You've already said it, Ron. There's nothing else to say. It is so apathetic, the play from Swansea. They know they're going down, but it's like, yeah, but this isn't an American league where like keep losing and get a first round draft pick. Like
doesn't work that way.
Guys, do something. I mean, and right now, they're sitting at 13 points in 20th. But I got to tell you what, with the people that are above them, West Brom, Bournemouth, West Ham, like what I was going to say is that those are clubs, much like talking about Burnley earlier, that can all screw up. If you really tried, you could fight. There's no need to give up right now. You could fight to get out.
They already have. Swansea's already given up. If you look at midway through the second half, right before, I want to say it was the Alexander-Arnold score in the 65th, Leroy Fer from Swansea turns the ball over and just stands there and drops his hands to his side and doesn't make an attempt to run that direction, doesn't make an attempt to do anything. He turns the ball over and then just stands there and watches Liverpool score.
And the scary thing about this behavior is it'll be a real shame because a few years ago, there were all these like articles and even movies or documentaries about Swansea, a club that was small, has come into the Premier League and is showing you how to do it right. And obviously that's not what's happening now. The way they are, if they leave the Premier League, it might be a long time before they come back.
They could be another Portsmouth.
They could be a Portsmouth.
Which you don't want to see. You don't want any club to see that. And I certainly hope that's not the case because they have talent on the team. They do. Alfie Morrison, Tammy Abraham, like they have some good talent there, even though he's on loan. But they've also, they've like fire sailed every one of their players. Like Lorente left in the offseason. Their captain Sigurdsson left in the offseason. Years passed. Bonnie went away. He's now back. He's hurt, so he didn't play in this game. But they got to figure it out, and they got to figure it out really quick because they have to. The goal right now is you want to be above that red line.
Remember 2 years ago, Newcastle knew they were going down, and they actually invested in their following season in the lower league.
Right. And bounce back up.
And they invested at the end of their Premier League Premier League season, going into knowing they were going to be getting relegated. They invested in that to keep it to then come back up. That is not
the difference with that though is be careful on how I word this because I know a lot of Newcastle fans aren't happy with Mike Ashley. But one thing Mike Ashley does know what to do, he knows how to run a business. He has a very successful business over there. So he ran it at that time like it was a business. How do we get
business?
That's
our Muppets Christmas.
Yeah, there it was.
It is business. It is the American way. It is the British way.
But yes, I love you for getting that in.
That's a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh Lord,
business. Sam the Eagle.
Oh, great. But so that was one thing that they had going for them. The also thing they have is Newcastle is a worldwide known team. They bring in a lot. I believe that year they went down. They stole Matt Ritchie from Bournemouth, who was in the Premier League, down to Newcastle.
Right.
They brought in Benitez, exactly. Because Newcastle has been for several years. They won the, I don't know if it was called the Premier League. Yeah, I think it was called the Premier League. They won one of the Premier League titles. They had Alan Shearer playing for them. Like, they're a worldwide name. It is a very big team up there. Swansea doesn't have that. They are a good, solid team. We'd love to see them in the Premier League. They're one of the teams in Wales that is consistently good, but they don't have that aspect of worldwide. This is Newcastle.
Well, and look, last year they were scrambling through coaches, managers left and right.
Bob Bradley, yeah.
I mean, so this seems like indicative of a larger problem. Sadly enough, if they get relegated, which looks like it's the way, like I said, I'm just worried about what that leaves them at. And what about our Swansea bar, Ron, that we like down in St. Pete?
Oh, right.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Oh, I got to tell you what.
Give them a visit.
I think they're going to have to watch them next year on ESPN.
If by some crazy miracle, Swansea gets in a position where like there's like a last game,
we're going there.
We need to go there because the champions they'll already be determined. We should go there. That would be like it will either like fun. People will be hammered with celebration, or that are gonna be some sad drunks.
And we kind of already covered a bit, but shortly after the match, one of our good supporters of the pod, Mr. Tony Sounds Good, asked us a question that was very what we were kind of talking about here. So here's a discussion for you three. What, if anything, can the Swans do in the trade window to stay up? Or is this it? Are they doomed?
I'd like to take this one. They're doomed.
Yes, caller.
They're doomed.
Go ahead.
That's my vote. They're doomed.
I agree. I think when Fabianski is the best player on your team, and that's your goalkeeper for at least the last 3 matches, and is the only one that seems to actually care how the team does, I think that's a huge recipe for you're going down.
Could you imagine?
Your 2 best players are Fabianski and Alfie Olsen. That's a defender and a goalie.
I'm holding out.
Yeah, but he didn't seem all that.
No, but I guarantee you, if they go
excited.
down, he stays in the Premier League. He'll go to a Leicester, a West Brom. He'll because he's solid. But you're right. That's it.
And I'm holding out. I'm being positive for my cherries. I think Bournemouth could do something to turn this around and get out of being in the relegation spot. What if? Could you imagine, gentlemen, if you would, look ahead to me to May. Could you imagine if the Premier League ended and the relegated teams were West Ham, West Brom, and Swansea?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That would be crazy. Like if a Bournemouth.
Well, not so much on Swansea though. They were having a hard year last year.
Absolutely. I just mean that collection though, right? I mean that teams that have been, staples of the Premier League for the last few years. Bournemouth, if they got relegated, it's not a shock. That's a club that's always going to be fighting that as they first come to the Premier League for a while. But if it were to be like a West Ham, a West Brom, and Swansea, oh man,
that would be that would be insane. The one I'm going to answer this backwards. So are they doomed? Yes, they're doomed. They've shot themselves in the foot. Why fire Paul Clement? Why go through manager?
Why fire Bob Bradley?
Why
great American?
Very true. He's a great American. Coached Egypt. Yes, love him. But why fire Paul Clement and not have anybody to come in? You have an interim coach with no relevant or idea of a plan here right now. So,
and Tony
is this
Poulos,
it? Yes, I think it is.
Here's a question. Tony Poulos became available.
That brings me to my next point. Can you get anybody in the trade window to stay up?
But
player-wise, no. Ronaldo's not coming through those doors anytime soon, so you can't. There's not really. You'd have to bring in 4 players at least to help keep you up. That's not happening.
You need
in the January.
The equivalent of like Bo Jackson from Tecmo Bowl.
Yes, yes.
That's
Tecmo Bowl ain't coming back. Neither is Bo. Swansea's doomed. But bringing to your point of Tony Pulis, today he signed. I think you said it earlier with Middlesbrough to win championship. That could have been a person that you could have brought in during the trade window to help bump you up. But I think Tony Pulis went. Swansea's doomed.
Why would you sign?
And I'm not going to sign up for a club where I've never got relegated.
Now look,
and there's a pretty darn good chance, a very much good chance that they are going to. So he went. You know what? I'm gonna take a very prominent job, maybe in the championship, but I can work to get them back up. And
you know what sucks?
Awesome. So
here's what sucks. Imagine you are in Europe, any one of you two gentlemen, and you have been working your way up as a manager of football clubs. Swansea approaches you, and it is your chance to manage in the Premier League.
Ryan Giggs.
If you feel that you are good enough to eventually get in the Premier League, or a league like it, that's a really tough proposition, because you imagine you get attached to a club that you know is going to have a disastrous rest of its season based on this player it's got. If you've got, this would be, do you say yes to a job like that? If you are promising,
Benitez did though.
Yeah,
but again,
Newcastle
we
different.
Exactly. We discussed.
But he also had that reputation already.
Right.
Yeah, he's also been doing it long enough. You couldn't screw up his reputation. You know what I mean? Like So
if you're an up and comer, you think twice about this. I mean, the same goes for players. The same goes for players.
Oh, sure.
Because how are you going to go? This is my big shot to make it, and I'm already halfway through the season, and there's no hope.
Their best hope.
Do you take it?
Their best hope is to get lucky and get like a Vardy, a Jamie Vardy. And what I mean by that is someone in a lower league that you have scouted well, who you realize can play above that league's potential, that no one else is, because anybody worthwhile, guys, guess what other clubs are looking for strikers right now? A lot. So if there are any decent strikers available in January, you're not getting one, and your backline's screwed. So your only option is to score. So I mean, that's a rough spot.
And
yeah, it's going to be 31 miserable days in January for them.
So do they say this season is doomed and start to prepare for life in the championship?
I got to tell you, I feel like that should have started earlier. I'm not. No,
I think this is a good time to start it.
I think now is when you start it.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm not
I think
convinced.
they have been inadvertently doing that already because of all the coaching shit.
They shot themselves in the foot.
And they just haven't been making smart decisions from last year.
With the
and
problems
now
you guys
it's coming back to bite them.
Sure, but with the problems you guys are all mentioning, I feel like it's too late. Like it's
not to prepare for the championship.
Man,
because they're still. I mean, we're just over halfway through the season. So if they say, you know what, let's prepare for this, and that could be what they're doing by not bringing in a manager yet, because Leon Britton is their interim, so that could be what they're doing.
But you know where that hurts? You know what that hurts?
The pocketbook?
Well, no, because you're saving money. So by not having an actual manager, you're not spending that kind of money, so you can hold on to it. I think it really hurts the players, the morale. It hurts all of the people you're going to try and bring in the January trade window instead of.
But who's saying they're actually going to bring anybody in the January window?
Well, they've got to try.
If I was trying to build for next year, I let people fight over strikers. I would find affordable, good defenders.
I would do the same. I would go for either solid midfielders or defenders.
100%. No, 100%.
That's where I would go. Yeah. And what I would do, in my opinion, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not an actual manager, I would use the last half of this season to tactically figure out how my team works so that when I fall into the championship next year, we already have a formula to get back up.
But you can't do that yet without a manager.
And I'm just going to throw out Swansea, if you're listening, which I know you do.
All the Swans do.
Have some fun, and you're the first club to hire 3 Americans to coach your club into getting relegated at the end of the season.
Belichick.
No, you, me, and Ron. We will come over.
Wait, aren't they in this trouble because there was 3 American owners that bought into it?
We'll just have a blast. We'll hang out and party. We will have so much fun going into relegation. We'll have so much fun going into relegation.
Yeah, I'm sure
we'll be a boon to your social media. We'll have a lot of fun with your fans. They won't hate you, and then you can go hire a good coach afterwards. Let's do it.
Let's ride the relegation train.
Let's do it.
Ride the relegation train. That's the shirt
Straight
that we
to
need
Wales.
to make. Straight to Wales.
Yeah. It's a pity they closed the Doctor Who experience, so we won't be able to see
really?
that.
Oh, you just ruined it, dude. I was sitting there watching the game.
He
going,
exactly
Kara,
said that. Yeah.
We got to go to Wales. And, like, we should go to the Doctor Who experience. Now I'm broken
No,
hearted.
it's closed.
Dang it.
Hang on.
Man.
One thing I think if you tell the players essentially what the long-term plan is and say, hey, let's still fight for every game. However, we have to think smart here. We are ultimately a business. Odds are we're going to go down. So we are starting to plan for that as a business on how we get back up immediately. You tell the players that, but you also say to Alfie Morrison and Fabianski and whoever else, hey, if we go down and a big club comes in for you or a Premier League club comes into you, we will sell you at the right cost. I think if you do it that way, it's laying it all out there going, here's what's going on. We're trying not to turn into another Portsmouth.
Well, but you know what? I think here you go. From this day forward, over the next 4 weeks, we either see them make those choices or they are going to be another Portsmouth. I think this is the point that you got to see them start to make these moves. Like, it'll be interesting to see what they do at the January transfer window.
I don't think they'll do a lot.
Who do they get? I don't know. Well, if you're going after defenders, you might be able to do something.
Get somebody from the
and then they could,
Austrian league.
They could just ride out the rest of their season going 0-0.
Ride out the relegation train to Wales.
Yeah, go with two goose eggs. Well, I don't know. That'll be interesting to watch. It's already obvious. The relegation situation is going to be way more exciting than the top of the table, and the fourth and place and sixth place should be pretty good runs for the rest of the season. Yeah, it's been a good one so far.
Certainly will be interesting.
Well, I think that wraps us up. We are going to get together. Is it our next show? Right, because the last of these crazy fixtures is January 4th.
Right.
So we're going to, our next show after that will be a Epiphany special where we'll do the Three Wise Asses.
It's going to be great.
Bearing gifts of beer. I love it.
Beer? And we actually have gifts, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have wise-ass gifts for you.
Yeah.
Mine are on the way. They should be here by then.
So did you check your luggage, Ron, or did you carry on only?
Oh, I carried on.
Oh, I was going to say, you got to bring some crazy Christmas thing from PA we can't get back or ship it here or something.
You just don't worry about it.
Ooh, buddy. Ron fired shots. He's on shots fired. All right, I can't wait. I'm gonna go find some good stuff, so we can have some fun. So we each bring in a good Christmas or winter themed beer, something.
Right.
Themed. For our next episode. So thanks for listening to this one and how stupid we are for these holidays. I'm gonna miss these Christmas Carol headlines a lot.
It's going to be hard to do like Valentine's Day headlines.
Oh, Valentine's Day, buddy. No.
Oh,
Blake's excited
on that one.
I'm excited about that. Just go back and listen to our Valentine's Day episode. And I got a little Roses of Red poem just for you. Yeah, you just go back.
Don't worry. I have St. Patrick's Day on lock.
You got a limerick I got to bleep all the words out to?
Exactly.
Oh, damn it, Ron. We got to write limericks.
Yep.
You just did it. We're writing limericks I love it. This is great.
It's going to be amazing.
This is great.
I'll provide the Irish beer. You guys write the,
Well, Ferris, that means
a mess.
If we're still celebrating old Christmas, you have to do one last set of Christmas Carol headlines. But you have to work Old Lang Syne into
It's going to be hard because I used completely different carols this time and all the ones I didn't use last time. So if I'm allowed to go back into the
you can go back. Also,
basket of
there's
carols.
Popular ones you didn't touch, you know.
Are you an American or an Americant?
Oh, shot fired too. Oh, I can't wait for the Wise Ass episode. It's going to be great.
We're off to a good start.
Well, the Boxing Day thing always makes me happy. This is a blast to do.
A lot of fun.
We missed you, Rob, but glad you could get on the phone with us. And that's got this episode wrapped up. Follow us on Brewtiful Game on Twitter or find us on Facebook. Instagram's The Brewtiful Game.
Untapped.
What's that, Ron? What's that, Ferris?
Untapped.
We are also on a 24/7 streaming application.
That's right. All Sport. All Sport. So check us out on there. We'll share, and they'll share us on Twitter too when those episodes pop.
They've been fantastic so far.
All Sport Talk, right?
Yes.
.com. Well,
Yep.
I should make sure I got that right before I spout off in my mouth. But where did I leave anything else? As Ron said, Untapped, which is always a fun one.
The Instas.
The Instagrams. I think we got it covered, man.
Yeah.
And we still have a few magnets left. right?
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
yeah, if you leave a review on Stitcher or iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast at, take a screenshot, hit us on Twitter or email us at thebrewtifulgame@gmail.com with it, and we'll get in touch, get you and get a magnet and a koozie mailed out to you.
And I owe one listener theirs. I've just been, as you guys know, out of town. So as soon as I get back home, I'm sending that out to that one listener.
All good. It's been a crazy bit at the end of the season here.
Yes, it has.
Yep.
Busy.
Well, gentlemen, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.
You serious, Clark?
Where's Eddie? He usually eats these damn things.
It is the British way.